الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. حياكم الله جميعا وأسعد الله أوقاتكم بكل خير. موضوع جلستنا العلمية بإذن الله لهذا المساء بعنوان How to Manage a Successful Scientific Journal. يقدمه لنا سعادة الأستاذ الدكتور محمد خليل سعيد, who is a certified reviewer from Babylon Academy in CAAA, KFMC and KACST, former researcher at Bremen University in Germany, a former fellow at ICTP in Italy, a member of Network of Excellence, German African Sciences, a reviewer and member of the editorial committee of several peer-reviewed journals, and a professor at medical physics at Najran University. فليتفضل مشكورا. المايك لك يا دكتور محمد.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور محمد. طيب، الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم الذي هو أعظم الأنام وخاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين والله. It's well known that the title is How to Manage a Successful Scientific Journal. And maybe you ask yourself, what is the content of this presentation? In fact, this presentation provided for both junior and senior researcher. This content will provide the junior researcher with several topics such as a peer review system, publication type, SIMRAT, ISSN, and DOI. Moreover, this content will provide the senior researcher with a topic such as what to do to start, population requirement, organization structure, content of the journal, structure for the author, transparency, importance of recognition journal by regularity agencies. A journal is only as good as its editorial team and the quality of its reviewer. Hence, for a successful running of journal, the first and foremost important prerequisite is competent editor support by a team of editorial staff. In fact, there are some bare minimum requirements that are essential for running a successful journal and ensure it is sustainability in the long run. These are good quality manuscript, proper office and minimum essential staff, financial sustainability, active editorial board, good quality of reviewer, increased visibility, indexation in virus database, one-line availability, and easy to use a website. And of course, maybe the last two requirements could be provided by the publisher. So what to do to start? After having completed a legal requirement and governmental formality of obtaining a declaration, this of course includes a decision about selecting a publisher, one should first assess the strength and resources, because everything which follow will depend on that. It is always important to move slowly and ensure steady progress. Decide about the frequency of your journal or publication, which could be annually or biannually or quarterly, bi-monthly or monthly. And be careful in selecting member of editorial board and founder member. Don't go for the big names that are too busy and don't have time, but instead select those who are keen and interesting. Decision about the frequency of publication will be determined, keeping in view of financial resources. Of course, timely publication as per frequency is extremely important. And finally, consider the logistic and technical issue. Okay. When starting a new journal, there are some logistic and technical issues which have to be resolved. First of all, it is essential that there should be a proper office with a minimum full-time staff. This also includes a better title, designing a website with a good impact, deciding about some manuscript management system, applying for ISSN number, and in case of both print and online version, one will need the separate ISSN number for both. Decide about the abbreviation of the journal, which should appear everywhere and which will be used while writing a reference. In the current world of online publishing now, it is not a choice, but important quality standard to have a system to issue DOI, or what's known as a digital object identifier, to every manuscript which is published. Maybe you ask yourself, what is the system to issue DOI? First, the DOI, as I said, is a stand for a digital identifier of an object. Any object, physical, digital, or abstract. DOIs solve a common problem, keeping tracking of things. Thing can be matter, material, content, or activity. Any editor can get this service from the link appear in this slides, www.doi.org. It should be pointed out that the DOI Foundation is a non-for-profit organization. They govern the digital object identifier system on behalf of the agency who manage the DOI register and provide a service to their respective committee. To manage your journal, To manage your journal, you need to differentiate between peer review time. The peer review system consists of 3 types: a single blind system, with double blind, with open peer review system. في الsingle blind system, the author don't know who reviewer are. However, the reviewer know who the author are. In double blind system, neither author nor reviewer know each other name or affiliation. The 3 most common modification بالنسبة للopen peer review system, three most common modification to which the term is applied. عندنا open identity, so the author and reviewer are aware of each other identity. وعندنا كمان open report, so the reviewer report are publishing alongside the relevant article rather than being kept confidential. وfinally, عندنا open participation, the wider community are able to contribute to the review process and not just invite a reviewer. So what is the publisher requirement? And before a publisher requirement, it is important that the comment by the reviewer or reviewer by editorial staff to remove any harsh, inappropriate word from the review before they are communicated to the author. Okay, now in this step, you will ask yourself, what is the requirement of the publisher? So you are in selecting publisher cycle. As well known, there are several publishers in the market, such as Elsevier, Spring Natural, ACS, Export, and the list goes on. It is important to perform comparison to study the advantage versus your budget. You have to know that in case of open access options, some publishers are cheaper, some are more expensive. Think about the cost of the publication, the time it takes to publish them, the disciplines they publish. During your survey and finding the publisher, maybe you noted that article of the same quality in Elsevier are usually more or less cited in that than in Spring. Based on the technical issue you determine, you will need to know the service provided by the publisher. Publisher return with a very high income returns, and therefore there is a great competition between them. This is an example for Elsevier, which is a Dutch publishing company, has profit margin in 2010 about 950 million pounds. This is not advertising, but they offer many services. For example, but not limited to, they provided the service finding the right journal for the author. So just you go to the links appear you and write the title and abstract of your manuscript, and they will provide you with many options. Okay, regarding editor, I cannot provide you with all publisher requirement, but for example, Elsevier provide editor with a various logistic and technical solution related to open access, paid article training. A new editor need to join the editorial essential training course, and during this step, the journal team should prepare the guide for author, information about the journal, selecting an editorial board, and so on. As a senior researcher, and in the step of establishing scientific journal, it is expected that you know the difference between ISBN, ISSN, DOI. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number, so it is for book only, and it is consists of 1 or 13 digits. In comparison to ISSN, it is a stand for International Standard Serial Number and is used for journal, magazine, and other serial publication. Consists normally of 2 sets of 4 digits with a dash between them. The DOI, as previously mentioned, digital object identifier. It is a unique identifier for digital content used across the industry and managing the non-for-profit organization cost. And the assignment of ISSN is handled by the USSISSN Center at the Library of Congress, US, and it is free. You just can go to the link, log.gov ISSN, and start applying. Your application will be one line, you will complete it one line, and in case of your publish your journal without the help of any publisher, this step will consider compulsory. Okay, content of the journal. It's well-known function of the media, print or electronic, are to inform, educate, and guide. Hence, the content of scientific journal can reflect most of the above of the previous function. One can include story and manuscripts which have useful information for a reader of the journal. Secondly, the journal can serve as useful media to educate the general public, or it is intended readership or various issues of national importance, keeping in view the local social economic development, environment, and cultural value. To do this, it is important that the writer is intelligent and competent enough to educate the readership after having compiled all essential information. And this, the writer or contributor is required to interpret the event happening and highlight their likely effect or repercussions. The third and the most important function is guide, which cannot accomplish unless the writer has kept himself or herself informed, fully abreast of the latest development on the subject her or she is writing. An ignorant author is no less than weapon of mass destruction, because instead of guiding the reader, he or she misguide the public and the reader at large. In order to ensure that no wrong message is communicated, the concept of the peer review was coined many years ago, whereby the writer up before publication are looked into experiences, competent individual in their respective field apart from the editor. In this, it is the job of the editor to arrange and organize an effective peer review system for the journal. Where peer review has its own advantage, it also has some advantage, as it can slow down the piece of work, can result in delay in publication at times, even may be able to detect any wrong information or scientific academic misconduct. Okay, variety of content of the journal. The journal must have a wide variety of content to satisfy the need of every class and group of readers, starting from original research. The content can include review, clinical case series, short or brief communication, short story, important news, book reviews, quiz, etc. While comment from the reader should be encouraged and welcome, a conference report could quite useful and informative for many who for some reason cannot attend this meeting. And information about forthcoming important event, conference, seminar, symposia, could also be very useful addition and informative for the reader. A good review helps the author to revise and improve the quality of their manuscript. In this regard, the Committee on Publication Ethics, COPE, has prepared some flowchart which provide a useful guidelines to the editors to handle a scientific misconduct. It is available in the link provided and show to you in this slide. Okay, the junior researcher need to distinguish between publication time. And publishing housing differ in accepting different forms of scientific research output. And they classify it to 13 types, as shown for you. The first one is a research article. It's well known. It is article in which the author report the research they did. The second is a review article. It's compilation and summary of work in a specific field, and it is not considered a report on a new research finding. And number three is a technical report classified by some as gray literature. It includes reference report that can be viewed through a scientific database. Number four, an editorial or opinion or commentary or perspective, which is an article that expresses an opinion of the writers on a specific issue, and this issue may be related to scientific policy. News. Number five is the news. Yes, sources, mostly journal and newspaper and published article, often refer to recent study published in a primary research article. Number 6, the article comment could be formal or reviewed. It's a formal commentary as criticism in a published periodical article will supplement.
عفوا يا دكتور محمد.
Yes.
يا اخوان سمحتوا لي فاتحين المايك. رجاء عمل ميوت للمايك يا اخوان. بليز. المايك يا اخوان. تفضل يا دكتور عذرا على المقاطعة.
ولا يهمك يا دكتور. Okay, number 7, a preprint or a post print. Here, a preprint is simply an article in a journal before it is in its original form, before it's peer reviewed or revised by the journal. Number 8, field trip guide. They are more common في geoscience than in other science disciplines. Number 9, the conference proceeding paper. Here, paper may be published in conference book form and are referred to as a conference proceeding. Sometimes these papers are peer reviewed, sometimes not. Number 10, a conference proceeding abstract. It is a research presented at a conference in a form of a poster or presentation, and it will probably not be published because it is under informal writing. Sometimes copy of the presentation is archiving on website, but most time the only record of that presentation will be a brief description of the title or abstract of the research. This abstract can be found in the research engine as Scholar database. And number 11, طبعا book, most science book cannot be considered a basic research. In general, they are description and interpretation of primary research published in the articles. So of course, publishing conditions vary according to the publishing house and after scientific review. The book series, sometimes called a private paper, understanding them can be confusing. It is published in some field as individual chapter, as preliminary articles. وآخر حاجة عندنا dissertation or thesis. It is well known طبعا هي the final product of research conduct for a doctoral or master degree. Okay, SIMRAT. Several medical editors follow ICMJE guidelines. ICMJE stands for International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. ICMJE has formulated some guidelines for submission of manuscript to biomedical journal, which are revised after every couple of years. Biomedical journal, the word overhand, have a standard format. An important component of the originals, the most published manuscript, cover in SIMRAT, where S stand for structured abstract, while I stand for introduction, while M stand for a method. I'm sorry that I forget R here in this slide. R, of course, stand for result, A stand for analysis, with D stand for discussion. As well known, the manuscript is then followed by a conclusion, acknowledgement, and relative reference. Authors are required to declare their conflict of interest and the source of funding, if any. The structured abstract usually contain 4 subheadings, اللي هي objective, method, result, and conclusion, followed by relevant keyword. For a case report, special communication, 1 paragraph summary, here considered enough. However, while writing review article, ICMJE guideline require that a summary must also provide information about the database which were used for literature search and the time period, how information was extracted. For journal or publication covering cultural sociology, it is important that they include manuscript which carry some message relevant in this field. Success story which could encourage others to follow the same footstep could be a useful addition to the content. Real life event which have some message how to address some particular problem would be welcomed by the readers. Content should be such that it invites the reader, and when readership increases, it's considered a very healthy sign for publication. The instruction for the author. The print issue as well as the journal website must contain a comprehensive information for the author. It should give a detail about the maximum number of the word which the journal will accept in different category of write up maximum number of figures and table to be included. It should provide a comprehensive guideline to the author, including a journal policy regarding plagiarism.
كده دقيقة خلاص.
Okay, ensuring transparency. Detail about process fee, if any, publication charge, peer review system, type of manuscript accepted for publication, a detail about fast tracking process of manuscript, a registration of trial, pharma industry sponsored study, lifetime period from submission, peer review, etc. must be clearly mentioned in the instruction, ensuring transparency. There should be no hidden charge. It is also advisable that the journal provides some forum for redress of grievances, compliance to author, reader, reviewer, advertiser. Those whose manuscripts are rejected should also have a chance to appeal against the decision. These days, some journals have appointed ombudsman. It is in Arabic ظالم أو تقريبا كده ترجمتها. For this and their contract detail about publishing in journal as well as on the journal website. Okay. Copy editing. Sometimes the manuscript received for publication need improvement of English language and grammar. If the journal can offer, they should appoint the copy editor. They are supposed to not only improve English language and grammar, but also eliminate repetition of information, redrawing the table and figure if need be, so that the message is conveyed effectively. However, if there is no copy editor in the staff, this has to be done by the editor. Some software like Grammarly also available for improvement of English language and grammar, but one has to subscribe and pay. Print and online issues. While a print version of the journal has it is important as seen is believing, but it is expensive and take a time. On the other hand, an online edition of the journal is not only highly economical, but it is also very quick. Hence, it is essential that the journal or publication should have both version, print format, as well as an online edition, which will increase the visibility of the publication main form. Okay, this is very important, the financial sustainability. It is one of the most important aspects, and editor should ensure suitable funding to sustain the long-term publication. Source funding could be through a donation, a grant, trust or foundation, a government grant if possible. Subscription generation take time, and even then it does not fetch much funding for sustained growth. However, an important source of income could be through advertisements, for which one needs a strong, committed business team. Initial few years could be very taxing, but as time passed, the journal or publication earned some credibility, readership, and improved visibility. Things start to become a bit easier. Once the journal gets established, the author pay a business model, ensure a financial stability. However, then there are too many problems which one has to face. It must be remembered that running and managing a good quality peer review journal in any subject is a very frustrating and stressful job because of financial constraints and lack of training, experience, human resource. While training the staff will take a time, but how to return them once they have been training is yet another uphill task for management. A recognition by a regulatory agency, a recognition, for example, in case of Saudi Arabia, recognition could be by Saudi Commission of Health Specialty and Higher Education, or in Higher Education, Ministry of Education of Saudi Arabia will ensure, of course, more submission. The Ministry of Education also provides some financial grant to the journal, but the journal have to provide evident content of this grant at the end of the year. Okay, this is an example of two represented journals linked with the society. First, the Medical Physics Journal. It is my specialty. I'm medical physicist. The Medical Physics Journal connected with American Association of System in Medicine. And the second one is Radiotherapy and Oncology that connected to ASTRO. ASTRO here, European Society for Radiotherapy and Oncology. Indexation for various databases. A recognition will coverage in directory of open access journal DOAJ. ده بيشمل include كمان الميدلاين PubMed والPubMed Central والScopus. Our recognition by Thomson Reuters اللي هي Claritative Analytic. We're getting an impact factor will apply for DOI number after contract with the Crossref. كل الحاجات دي, all of this ensure credibility, increased visibility and readership, which is turn result in increased summation. However, all this may not be easy as most of the database have evaluation committees to look at the quality of the content before accepting the recognize the journal. Moreover, timely regular publication is a prerequisite. Sometimes today it's 2 years and sometimes it's 1 year. It's different. The plagiarism check. As I said, a number of free software are available on the net to check the plagiarism, but most important one here, I'll turn it in, will identicate, which is one has to subscribe. In Najran University provide this facility of checking plagiarism through Identicate to a faculty member. This is of course for research and not for a journal. I remember in Studio Digital Library, SDL, our Ministry of Education, I'm not sure, will facilitate in the future checking plagiarism through Identicate to all public sector university, including a medical institution for their faculty members. The issue related to ownership. The problem with difficulty related to running a successful journal are also related to the ownership of this publication. So if the society, organization, foundation, or trust, or the institution, including a university, are the owner, they can set aside enough funding for this project. Not only that, they can even acquire a service of training and experienced people to run and manage the journal. But while assuring a financial support, this institution organization must also ensure that the editor has enough independent to take day-to-day decisions related to the journal, which are extremely important. Lakin, if the editor has to take a permission for each and every action decision from a higher authority, it will not only slow down the whole publication process, but never encourage the editorial team to take initiative. Ideally, the editor should have contract appointment with the defined period, right, and a responsibility should be clearly stated. During the past 2 decades, there have been some tremendous development in information technology, which has made the job of the editor easy. But at the same time, it has also put them under a lot of stress, and it has become quite difficult for editors to come up to the expectation of the author, who are quite impatient like me, wish to see their manuscript in print as soon as possible. They are also known to be the most dangerous pressure group which the editor have to face. Running while managing a good quality journal faced with the financial human resource constraints is not easy. It is a quite frustrating and stressful job, and all these problems difficultly which one can encounter must look at into before embarking في الجورني بتاعت publishing journal. However, the professional competencies of the editor will ensure a smooth sailing to great extent. Okay, regarding the editor or author, it is important to know a reason for rejecting a research paper. 10 common reasons for rejecting a research paper in scientific journal appear for you. Number 1, he'll fail to respect the journal, respect the formal standard in journal. A research paper does not match journal editorial line. Number 3, the absence of novelty. It is very important. And usefulness. The manuscript did not bring anything new or only confirm the result reached previous. Number 4, the research paper is a part of a scientific study that has been fragmented with the aim of obtaining a largest possible number of research papers. Number 5, research is too general. 6, lack of clarity of the research problem and its hypothesis. Or research is incomplete. It is just a note or general information that does not amount to the degree of integrated study. Or there is a methodological defect, or the absence of logical structure of the content. And number 10, and is very common, in the language level. This is not for only Arabic speaker, or even for Italian, German, all non-English speaker. And in this case, the editor should provide assistance either by providing language assistance service or by improving the language level by means of comments. And now the question is, how do you encourage and attract author to be a referee? And what is the interest? As a junior researcher, maybe you ask yourself several questions regarding a referee in journal. This question could include, what is the benefit to be a reviewer or referee in the scientific journal? Is there any financial or literary return? How soon can I become a referee? So in this section, I will talk about the importance of, let's say, arbitration in peer-reviewed scientific journal, which required experience in publishing and scientific and objective criticism. Most when registering in a scientific journal as an author to publish in a scientific paper, you will indicate your interest to either support the journal as a referee or not. But that does not mean your choice, even if the paper to be reviewed is in your field of specialization. Additionally, your appointment as a referee does not imply that you will receive a significant payment or money. One of the reasons for increasing your chance of being selected as a referee is the rate of your publication. As well, you may be registering in Papillon website. Just go to papillon.com and start to make account there. Papillon Academy was created by Clarivate Web of Science, including طبعا هي 3 million researchers. Papillon helped many journals to determine the appropriate referee in return for a point record in the researcher account, if you wish, of course. In addition to certificate granted by the journal and obtaining the result of the citation measurement. To be a referee accredited in Papillon, you must pass the referee test. In this test, you will nominate one of the expert referee in your field to arbitrate a previous published paper. The choice to accept you as an arbitrator on Papillon is made based on the arbitrator recommendation. Okay. There are 5 factors that may make it essential to serve as a referee or arbitrator. First, recognizing a referee prefer the type of criticism and making an effort to steer clear of them when drafting the scientific paper. Second, community service, which is one of the requirements for a promotion of faculty member in university. And I hope in the future to be added in the Nigerian University regulation for promotion of faculty members. Number three, inspiration of new ideas through reviewing of qualitative scientific research. Number four, obtaining a point on the popular science or a certificate, as I said, from a scientific journal. And number five, developing a writing skill and scientific language in the case of preparing scientific paper. In the view of previous mentioned benefit, many scientific journals do not grant any return paid for arbitration. On contrary, there are some journal and research institutions, especially those who give a referee an amount of money ranging from 50 to 400 US dollar in exchange for arbitration. This institution may set some condition, such as an arbitrator have a professorship degree, or by evaluating his CV and verifying his qualification by a security company. Your choice to be arbitrator in the journal may be not related to the academic degree you obtain, but your choice is often depend on the quality and quantity of your publication. The criteria for selecting an arbitrator vary from one journal to another, and the criteria for this journal may be increased based on the value of their impact factors. Okay, citation rate and impact factor. According to journal citation report, JCR, the impact factor is a ratio focusing on original research. Let's take an example. If the journal has impact factor, let's say 2.5, this means in the indexed year, each article published was cited on average 2.5 times in the previous 2 years in that job. Simply, we can calculate the impact factor by this equation. We just need to divide the number of citations to all terms published in the journal in the past 2 years, على a number of articles and review published over those past 2 years, reference those citations. Okay, a percentage of publication of faculty member will publication rate. There is misunderstanding between a percentage of publication of faculty member and publication rate. As several publisher or ranking site provide the data regarding the ranking of the university per publication and publication by discipline. However, they don't have any information regarding a number of faculty members by these disciplines. To distinguish between a percent of publication or publication rate, a percentage of publication is defined as a percentage of full-time faculty members who publish at least one research during the year to total faculty members in the program. While publication rate defined as the average number of referee and published research per each faculty member during the year, or the total number of referee or published research to the total number of full-time or equivalent faculty member during the year. So, the percentage of faculty member is not equivalent to publication rate. In other words, I can say, if let's say divided the number of faculty of publication in X college, let's say they have a 15 or let's say have 15 publication, and we divide it by the number of staff, which let's say there are 10, and let's compare this with a 30 publication and the number of the staff is less than the 10, let's say 5. Okay. So explain an equation of calculation and percentage of publication of faculty member can be shown in the by this equation for you, the number of publication in certain year and the total number of faculty members in the same year multiplied by 100. لكن الريت of publishing research per faculty member دايما equal the number of publishing research as a numerator and the number of faculty member as denominator. Okay, finally, and after get overview of logistic and technical issue, will publication type, will publisher requirement. It is important to construct an organization structure بتاعت الجورنال نفسه. البوزيشن of managing editor and editor-in-chief تختلف and vary with the some overlap. The difference between a large and a huge publishing housing in terms of management is that some publishers may not have an executive director. And instead, they have editor-in-chiefs or senior editors. And before explaining the difference between the duty of managing editor or editor-in-chief in general, and after accepting our manuscript, it will send to publication office, and we wait until proofreader and before uploading an article in the website. لكن there are several departments. There are several departments under the publication manager, under a publication manager, such as the issue editor, with literary editor, with proofreader of reference, with proofreader of translator. Okay. Here I will explain the duty of the editor-in-chief. The duty of the editor-in-chief include legal editor of publication. He must have a direct communication with the publication manager. He must appear full responsibility for achieving the decision of the board of the director, in addition to the publishing procedures, determine the directory and policy of publishing, determine the general form and format of the general, give a final approval to writing a material, receive a continuous report from various departments in publishing and through studying and report, identify and accomplish things and meet the need. Determine the general budget and the different budget of the department based on their need and requirement, and the communication with other institutions and various publication, and finally solving a publishing problem. On the other hand, the managing editor دايما بيكون responsible for the normal daily routine of publication and for reporting editor-in-chief. Determine the work mechanism and ensure that it is completed on time. Number 3 اللي هي managing staff related budget وmanaging all publishing housing efforts to avoid getting into trouble. وكمان set the date for completion of the work and inspects it to ensure that it is completed in time. Also, when employee encounter a problem, they turn to managing editor, having command and ability to plan and establish strong relationship and trust various tasks the employee with the confidence to accomplish them, determine the importance of material, the design and form, provide harmony between a template reader senior editor with editorial assistants. And play a role in recruiting an employee and educating and training the new staff. Finally, ensure that the amount of work required for employees is fair, equitable, and achievable. Okay, and with this, this concludes for the presentation. And I appreciate you are interested in and I apologize for the length of the session. And you are welcome to ask question as long as I can provide the answer. Yes, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you.
الله يعطيك العافية يا دكتور على هذه المحاضرة. يا أخوان اللي عنده سؤال